G'day, this is Captainoob and, whoops, sorry, this is a Bloodied Plasma Caster with no secondary legendary effect. This thing is 1 star. This is just making sure that I get 15 script with it if I eventually go on to replace this one with a better variant. But a Bloodied Plasma Caster can do a lot of damage, so we'll have to see how this thing goes. 76 and 76, that's a funny number, Bethesda. It's like the equivalent of what this game is, the 76th Fallout game in the franchise. And you can increase this thing's damage by chucking on some perks, like Heavy Gunner. There they are. Now, this is where it gets a little bit interesting, because there's a lot of incentive to actually use this thing outside of power armor, because you can use your unyielding armor, therefore you've got more perception, more agility to use with VATS to bust more criticals, and this thing is fitted with a calibrated capacitor, so there's a little bit of incentive for me to, go outside of my power armor and use those criticals. The problem is that we'll be using this thing without stabilize, and so we'll lose that in a bit of accuracy and obviously the defense of the power armor itself. So I guess it's up to the player to figure out which suits them. If you're going to take on just random mobs that'll, won't cause you too much trouble, you could probably get away with outside of power armor. But if you want to take on something big and beefy, say the Scorched Beast Queen or Earl when he finally shows up in the game, you probably want to jump in your power armor and use all of those bonuses, like the emergency protocols bonus, or perhaps the jetpack if you don't have that for outside of power armor. But we definitely want to chuck a Nerd Rage on. It leaves us 5 points. So we could either chuck on Gunsmith rank 5 or Gunsmith rank 2, which will leave us 3 points, enough for stabilized. Tell you what, I'll jump into power armor a little bit later, but just to show off what you can do with this thing if you want to use VATS, I'll chuck on Gunsmith. And what we'll do in agility, instead of chucking on Dodgy and Action Girl to bolster our defenses whilst in power armor, I'm going to go Covert Operative, and I'm going to go Sneak. And hopefully we can actually execute sneak attack criticals with this thing to increase our damage quite a lot. Now, another thing you could do with this weapon is chuck on 1 gun army if you're in power armor, but if you're not in power armor, you're going to want to go with Serendipity, because it's just a no-brainer perk for that one, because that extra defensive bonus that you get outside of power armor is massive, and Bloody Mess goes on too, and that nets us 140 damage with ballistic and energy damage both. It's mainly this damage. This is garbage. You don't want to pay attention to that. Okay, Tinkerbell is a Nerd Rage again. See, it's right there. And now I'm getting with this thing 433 and 433. I feel like I've seen higher, but that might be charged with adrenaline too. So yeah, that's pretty decent, I guess. Well, apparently my pet gulpers are preventing me from fast travel, so these guys are going down first. Where's your head? Where's your head at? Yeah, that's right, put on Covert Operative. I can't use the sneak criticals anymore, so we'll just use VATS criticals instead. There you go, video's over, thank you for watching, I'll be back tomorrow. Alrighty, so here we are outside of Captainoob's birthday party. Happy birthday to me. There's my unyielding stats, and here is my arm. I'm going to go through it real quick, so if you didn't see it, pause the video and go back, because no one wants to wait for you. Time waits for no one. And we shall begin on these super mutants, which we immediately get detected, but that's okay, because if we just smash the VATS key and spam this thing as much as possible, we can go pretty well over here. We're hitting them from about 1400 when the criticals land, which is great, and that dead super mutant just had a conversation with me. That happens on occasion. It's just a normal Fallout 76 thing. And with my perception and all of the criticals that I'm getting from my luck, I'm not really having any problems with this thing outside of power armor. The spread on this thing when you aim down sights, however, even when crouching, isn't great, so you kind of have to go into a range where this thing is decent in VATS anyway. So we're doing 607 now. So, you'd be thinking 1200 damage, but no. Whatever you see in energy damage, just half that. So 600 plus 300, about 900. We're nailing the criticals for 1200 and whatever for more. I mean, that might be off, but I don't rate energy damage at all. I think it's just terribly calculated. If they did it the same as ballistic damage, the energy guns in this game wouldn't be so fucking gutless. Yes, I'm looking at you, laser rifle. Anyways, the dog's howling whilst running at me. Not a particularly effective war cry, I don't think. But I think we're done with these super mutants inside. Now, or outside. Now on the inside it might be a little bit more difficult, because close quarters environment might get shredded by automatic fire, so if we die we'll jump into power armor and sort them out that way. Alrighty. We're inside now, and we'll get started. Yeah, sometimes you'll find that the projectiles are like giant plasma basketballs, and they'll have a hard time on occasion going around geometry, so make sure that you're a little bit switched on to that. And I got an aim down sights bug right there, so that's what that can be attributed to. We're a little bit low on health right now, but it'll jump back up because bugs! I'm not even using the rejuvenated or life giver perks, which they totally forgot where I was for a second. Yeah, nice Bethesda. That's just from being well fed, so I've got a low endurance, so that would significantly boost my health a lot higher than what it would normally. But yeah, you can exploit this game just from being well fed and whatever. They're gonna fix that. There was that gamma gun that I picked up. It's a 3-star and reduced weight, so good script to weight ratio. Always nice to see. At least your script wear is light. So right now we're just holding down this choke point here, and we're doing pretty well. We can kill these guys in one shot most of the time, and that allows us just to kill them, go through our own pace. Whilst this thing doesn't have a great rate of fire, it is certainly making it up with damage per shot, being able to just shoot everything and kill them in one shot. Now, this might be all well and good for this type of situation here, but I am a firm believer of sustained DPS beats damage per shot, or yeah, damage per shot in the long run easily, because you'll notice even though the explosive fixer of the Bloodied variety, for example, it has a lot higher damage per shot. If you use a fire rate version of the fixer versus a Scorched Beast Queen, you know, considering, let's just forget about how she's got that explosive resistance for this example, but you'll find that you'll do a lot more damage with the sustained DPS of the thing there. Also, that's some nice shooting there, Super Mutant. I don't actually think I can put a plasma bolt through there, but I'll give it a shot. No pun intended. Nice teleporting doggo. Well, it looks like I can, but that Super Mutant has retreated. We have to play a little bit standoffish because we don't have the power armor benefits to really boost our survivability here, but that's okay, because we've managed to kill everything rather quickly. It's a very ammo efficient solution. I just started this with just over 1,000 rounds, and I've used barely any, and the good thing about that is the condition bar will go down slower as you're playing as well. A lot of benefits to using bloodied low health weapons. Now, why I believe this weapon to be so goddamn important is because heavy gunners need a way to solo Earl. And if you don't know who Earl is, it's the new Wendigo Colossus raid boss that is going to be showing up, I believe, next patch. Oh yeah, I forgot the ghouls, but I forgot the ghouls didn't give a shit anymore, so this should be a lot easier than it normally would be. Also, block here is basically for this section, because just ignore the dogs barking, they do that on occasion. Because we're probably going to get punched by these ghouls, so taking a little bit less damage from that would be useful. People might be thinking why I'm not using the Basher perk because of this thing's 2-star legendary effect, or 2nd-star. And I'd like you to look again because that effect doesn't exist. It's not even a thing worth thinking about, to be honest, so we'll just go with blocker here. And I think that saved my ass just then. There'll be the occasional radiation damage that'll kill me if they manage to get too many hits on. But what I like about this weapon is that it takes a little bit of skill to use. You're not firing hit scan projectiles at a massively accelerated rate, so you'll have to actually take time and lead your shots and, you know, learn the weapon, which is good stuff. And yeah, back to Earl, because I kind of trailed off there. What happens is he's got a really stupid damage resistance thing. Might get wrecked here. Nah, just kidding. He's got a really stupid damage resistance thing. If you shoot him once, he'll gain, like, a massive amount of damage resistance for a few seconds, so I guess it's to stop you shooting at him too much, or rather to make sure teams of competent players don't stomp on him in 2 seconds like they do with the Scorched Beast Queen. But if you're going at the event solo with a heavy gunner, you'll find that you'll do fuck all. My best weapon versus Barbara, the Bloodied Fire Rate LMG, only does like 30 damage, 35 damage I managed to get at Nerd Rage Threshold against that guy, and that ain't gonna cut it. But if we've got all of this extra damage offered by the projectiles, and obviously firing a lot slower than usual is going to play, well, it's going to play against his strengths of being able to resist a whole bunch of fire, you could probably get a better performance out of this thing you can with the LMG, which is great for ammo efficiency because I went through so many rounds, and don't even get me started on how much rounds a Gauss minigun went through. I'm so glad that that was on the PTS because I wasted thousands of electromagnetic cartridges for that. It's terrible. Okay, so we'll just quickly clean up the local crackhead population, Philippine style, and we'll go from there. Now, if we get enough damage up here to one-shot Swan, I'm going to say that's fairly significant. It looks like we've summoned the doggos. That's okay. Obviously, stealth isn't a great option against huge groups because they'll just find out where you are and will gang up on you. But this thing has the power to just wipe out anything you see. See, all of that extra luck, agility, and perception that I'm getting out of my unyielding armor is really playing into this weapon strength of just slapping everything in one shot. That's nice. I know a lot of fucking people out there would be like, yeah, best weapon, one-shotting everything, but, you know, I understand that, but you know, DPS is better. And he's got a crit ready, so we'll just, you know, shoot him with this. Yeah, that'll do it. Alrighto, dealing with these crabs should be a piece of piss. If I'm going to make my first shot whilst I'm still able to maintain stealth, which I totally wasted. Also, that headshot totally whiffed, but that's okay. We're able to follow it up with a couple of extra shots. Now we do have escape artist, so we can do this and go back into hidden because we kind of forgot everything was there. I am seeing that they're glowing Mirelurk King, so we'll do something about that. Very nice to see him go down so quickly. He's usually a thorn in my side because he's got some damage over time on him. He's got a decently sized health bar. I think they took out all of the other dudes around here. So let's get Mirelurk Queen coming out. This time we won't bother using a critical if we can get her out. There she goes. We'll just shoot her in the leg. And it was enough to kill her before she finished her I'm a big scary threat animation. So, you know, that's pretty good. That's a pass from me. Let's move on to some bats. This is where the real fun begins. Alright, one last little fight for our bloodied 1-star thing. And unlike regular weapons that are hit scan, it's a little bit harder to use. Also, what's that Scorch Beast doing? Whoops, lag spike. I don't even know what to say. That was some bullshit. Okay, let's try that again. So, unlike a lot of the weapons in this game, you can't just point and click at the Scorch Beast. You gotta lead your target. So, the Scorch Beast present an extra large threat when it comes to using a weapon like this. Unless they land, which you just send some plasma basketballs their way and probably eventually take them out. But they're going to send lots of dudes at you, so you gotta deal with them quickly because, well, the dudes start coming and they won't stop coming. And you'll quickly get killed even if you aren't in a massive lag spike. So, you know, that's something to consider. So they'll quickly get on top of you, and I'm thinking that had I have played that better, I would have survived, but we'll try that again. This time we've got that extra leeway of not being in nerd rage yet. But being swarmed by these guys is a good way of, well, number one, triggering the aim down sights bug. And also, if you decide to guify stuff, chances are the goo pile might stay in the air and, you know, potentially make them unlootable depending on how high they are. I'm not sure a Scorch Beast Queen can be dualified because that would just be a massive pain in the ass for everyone. Yeah, just be a little bit more cautious when taking on your friendly bat population because they will like to kick your ass. If you go for a critical though, and the plasma bolts will actually seek the target because I guess it's technically firing a missile, speaking in the old Creation Club's dialect, I guess. But yeah, unlike just clicking on stuff, you gotta really predict where they're going to go, which, for a Scorch Beast, I'm missing it a little bit too much. There's really no excuse for doing that. But you'll get blinded and everything as well, so there's something, and fuck off, this is between me and the bat. Of course, you can just use VATs to cheese it, which is honestly probably your best option. I guify that one too. Is that one going to land up there? Yep, that goo pile is nowhere to be seen. Lucky that one wasn't legendary, right? But yeah, this is kind of the only point where I think you'll be running into too many problems. Anything else grounded will just be slaughtered by this kind of easily. That being said, if we manage to pull this one out of its dirty, dank little hole, now that would be interesting. I'm not sure if we've got a crit ready to blast this thing with. Looks like it doesn't want to show up. That's fine. I think you get the idea. That there was a 1-star Bloodied plasma caster, and it's going to be my best for a time. And depending on how this thing... That's mole rats, isn't it? Man, that triggers me. That just destroyed my mood. What? You can burrow to the ground and then go through a roof. Is it possible to learn this power? Anyways, happy birthday to me. I'm going to quit the game now and go to sleep. See you later. Thanks for watching. Bye.